He believed so many years ago. Humanity's curiosity about the story of creation started to start. Milk to the beginning of the universe. As human beings have their beliefs. A beginning formation. They were thinking when they were on a quest. The change of freezing cold. Followed by the delicate plant and life piercing the air of flowers. They observed Naren. After the emergence of plants from the earth. With the help of sun and rain. Sprouted branches and sprouted. So much so that it has become unstartable. Wild nature like a newborn baby. The location of the Naren market that opened your eyes. Weeds in time to start working. The Greeks have started this challenging formation. Inspired by the struggle. That he was born from the earth. And they have continued to believe that the nature of human beings. In the process of adaptation to wildlife. Likened to the will to live. Very cold, scary and wild in the wilderness. The human being who opens his eyes. No more struggle for sustainability. It was supposed to be freezing weather. Conditions and technicality in nature. Densely forested forests and caves became the refuge of mankind. Growing branches of plants and unstartable. Even with their men. But it's the same for the primitiveness of mankind. That's something that can't be said for the top 50. Finally needed the magic touch. By gods and heroes. People are civilized human beings. Metal processing. And it's your soul that builds those houses. The content of shaped art is nevertheless. That you had at the time. Where it becomes commonplace and where it comes from. Why people forget them, just as people forget. To forget the gods who heal. It has started to degenerate, but this. And it angered the gods. In the end a curse on the people. They decided to send it so that this. Damn only 2 survivors survive. Survivors of a flood. Let the 2 mortal gods of fire get kilometers. And that was Kalyan and his wife. In the flood that will bring the end of mankind. To ensure their survival, Ramat Reyes. Their helper was the son of the flood. A ship where they can take shelter during. Which took 9 days to build. In the flood, this ship was the Ark of the Gods. In the double waters protected from wrath. After death, Tassilia de Quixote. According to me or according to some sources. The remnants of Parna's mastery are here. They came to rest after the flood. Only to pull you out of these 2 mortal paths. He's the only friend of humanity. Kalyan and his wife were the solution to despair. The giant truck justice that applies. The oracles of the pure. And the people decided to stand by your brother. They went and told him how the human race. They asked if they could bring the oracle. The answer was clear that their mountainside. He said that the atmosphere was not there. That humanity can exist again. And that Gallion and his wife. And so the gods. The human being who was cursed by. They met with the grounda that Kalyan. Men from stones planted by. Those planted by his wife Pyrrha are dense. Women appeared and they were Greek. As the ancestors of the race. Me. But man is made from the earth. It came out of the people. Building the temples of legend. And the emergence of different gods. That built this. Sacrifices to the gods in temples. Also the fulfillment of worship. To be able to organize religion. Even the appointment of my people who are authorized. Are told in temples built. The ones who taught mankind that with that Gallion. That he was created from the stones created by his wife. The constant destruction of faith and this. Source gods of existence ATV. This has led to the introduction of. The most famous of the sources is ancient Greece. Whether the poet is blowing the works he writes and. According to if you have all the artifacts of the days. In the fifth age of humanity, there was the first of these. It was the golden age of Kronos. Ruler of the gods and his lair. As the gods who are on the team. Like the life I live is effortless and. Baha, full of goodness. But if the fields change, the crop. What is war and crime in this period? No one knew when it was time to die. While people are as if it is a sweet system. Ascends the sky as if diving and always. Transforming into the spirits named after him. They wander the world this divine existence. What took secret years has grown so that the age when Zeus' father Chromo overpowered the water. And ended with him seizing the throne. Zeus, having seized the throne of Olympus. It was the beginning of an era. The era is now named after Gumastag. People's well-being and happy lives. The remaining gods of Olympus. They decided that from now on, the human race. That there would be no wives for the gods. Upon which the king of Olympus. Shortened the duration of 4 separate. Gods lose their divine attributes. People no longer have the means to shelter and feed themselves. Had to take refuge in this way for the first time ABI. It's a shelter they built later. Plowed their fields and harvested the crops. They were but still their call was long. Faced to change the adulthood of a data. Adult who was supposed to be a year. And they have as much childhood. If not a considerable lifetime. But these people had to be content. Centenarian childhood stages and pathways. Shorter periods of adulthood hunger. And misery, and that's why. To the ruler of Olympus. Those who stop serving the gods. So they earned the curse of Zeus and. This damned Silverberg at last. Caused the extinction of its people. The wrath of the gods will bring the end of mankind. He hadn't yet given it to the land of the dead. Disorganized souls sent to you long. They've never known in their lives. They are lost in the collapse of the longing dib. With the end of Silverberg, the S. It took a tooth-snag tree in his hand. To sculpt and sculpt like a sculptor. Shape applications started and finished. He had created a strong and warlike country. Among them is the one who takes his anger out on the tree. Reflected the new people he had created. Their fall from grace. Although they are much weaker. Strong tongues are all accessory weapons and made of bronze, evoking war. Their medical minds are as hard as their hearts. Those that are released as rigid and ruthless. War and tranquility as opposed to peace and tranquility. They knew nothing but fighting. With and from themselves. They're always fighting with those who aren't. And that's how they consume all your cells. So much so that until this time. Living between clean justice conditions. The brutality of the Bronze Age of genius. Then he left the world and found peace again. And maintained the way to heaven for peace. Some say it's a flood to the end of this age. Ended with whom, according to whom. The end again expressed themselves. That Zeus bronze people right now. Quite single wiped out from the chaos brought about. More noble after this great turmoil. And decided to create a more honest race. Thus Hani gave a powerful. And the brave demigods. With the coming of the age of heroes. In the stories of the Bai and Tuba. Talking about epic battles that have passed. Their daily stories in distant lands. Into the legends that were told. This half of the divine dating flowing in your veins. Gods fight bravely. They became the protagonists they would die for. And the holy devotion for which they will shed blood. There was still war in the world. But the ones you tanned them with, they led a fairer life. As the beginning has an end, the end of the age of heroes is also its own. With the war and destruction they created, arrived. And so the hymn of the Olympian gods touches of the age of heroes. The sin of deterioration with the end of the. And then the age of the sea began. The gods were immortal, but you can't make them immortal. The most important thing that creates people's beliefs. But over time the belief in the gods reduced and erased trace loss. Piety started, disappeared and concepts of honesty people are one. Intrigue violence left one by one. Greed and hypocrisy are like ivy overtaking the heart of mankind. And started to spend time with each other. They've lost their trust, they've lost their love. They had become unaware of the mercy of iron. Laborious to maintain and loss of shape. As it is now the freedom of man. And a great deal of effort and labor. I had to, but I'll be patient for a long time. Time is a time when one's faith in nothingness produced an increasing anger iron. The face that will not yet bring the end of the age. And in the end, humanity will have to bear the brunt. He ended this age by sending a flood. Now all that's left of human beings. Truck and his wife spent Pyrrha antique. In the work of the army of all Greek poets. The next part of the story is the first. Unlike the version. The first one is in Greek whose creators survived the flood. According to Hesiodos, it was the Galleon and his wife. Zeus exalted the human race. Prometheus said that accordingly, it exists again. After the end of humanity. With tears flowing from your sorrowful eyes. Soil kneaded and shaped, inspired and blown by Athena, the enemy of peace. With the soul that came to life. And in the end, I want to bring mankind back to the earth. This situation was met with Prometheus. The seeds of hope for humanity in the regions. It was enough to make the world live again. The suffering and protection of the Son of Man coming again. Fleeing very cold weather conditions. Even in the shelters where they took refuge. Surviving raw fruits and bloody. Wild animals are fed with meat. Reduction of the dangers it creates. Somehow struggling to survive. And Prometheus is a man. A deep love nourishes their minds and to know how to heal pours. All their blessings to mankind. Help their defense. The use of instruments that will be metal engraved dishes. For them to cook and warm up. Gave the program astronomy anatomy alphabet. How to start the disease. And realized the interpretation of prophecies. That their Creator has given them. Intoxicated by the possibilities of human luxury. And the habit of living comfortably gods again. That the Lord of Olympus had forgotten. The prophet who angered Zeus again. A lesson system for the human race my order. Whereupon the other gods of Olympus. And politicians are also invited to join the macho nor. A meeting will be held in this. Prometheus was invited to the meeting in the water. Supporting the sacrifice of an animal. And the debt of the killed animal is divided. Pay by dividing it for gods and men. A big ox being applied. Sacrificed before the gods. The cunning Prometheus. And the bones on one side and the bones on the other. And the tripe and bones on the meat. Topped with a shiny delicious and oily. Covered the king of the gods with two. Zeus told him to choose one of the pieces. The flavor of the shiny greasy layer and the gods of Olympus, deceived by her beauty. Demanded the dream arrangements of that piece. But you realize you are making the wrong choice. It would have taken too long to remove the greasy layer. Under the name of the bone direction has changed. He was so pissed off that Prometheus. Fire as a gift to mortals. That decided to take it from this. Upon Prometheus Olymposia's great. Not to face the wrath of his ruler and fire, the lifeblood of the human race. He vowed to go back to them right away. A plan has been drawn up to make the Olympics open and from the flaming furnace of Hephaestos. Secretly taking a little sneak to the people as they landed on earth. On the other hand, he re-gifted the gift of fire. The rule of the chief god was nullified. Prohibited fire people again. Was given to him who disobeyed his orders. Punishing anyone. Zeus was the holy of the gods. To distribute and manufacture the tools of war. He went to Hephaestos and made him out of mud. That he created the creation of a woman. This woman's face is the face of immortal lives. And the second is for beautiful young girls. I don't look like gods that artistic. So much of the grace of your being. The personalized freedoms he lives with. Head. That Athena gave her colorful colored fabrics. It is possible to weave and decorate it around the waist. Flowers of flowers tied to nets. With golden necklaces around his neck. Aphrodite and every maston is attractive and all that needs to be done to be irresistible. This beautiful woman. World hostility and misery. Zeus would shower him with the gift of the gods. Which means Pandora gave the mini Pandora to all. Lid put on a box of bad things. Closed and Pandora is now entrusted. Everything was prepared and at last the chief god. Pandora, the bearer of catastrophe. Prometheus' brother, Master Pometer. The cent Api Metellus belongs to his brother. More than a asterisk and you're needless from Zeus. Not accepting any gifts. IH however adapted in this regard. Not heeding the warning is like Pandora's. Immersed in traditional beauty and young. You're 5 but the collapse of the disasters experienced. It didn't take long for curiosity to flare in your heart. Blinking, blazing Pandora at last. By opening the entrusted box. All the troubles and pains inside you. They're evil all over the world.